the local government autonomy, but of course there are some other matters which we will be discussing with the governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's start off with what the headlines we see in some of the papers this morning, where you had directed that within 24 hours that the police should immediately respond and rescue the mother of the finance minister.
Yes, first let me congratulate Channels on the award you won yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And let me say the kidnap of the Honorable Minister's mother is very unfortunate because it's like a killjoy. This is a period that we in Delta are supposed to be celebrating victory at the National Sports Festival. Yes, I have directed that within 24 hours the woman should be fished out. But because of the nature of the kidnap and the person involved and all that, I think it is fairly difficult for me to discuss anything about kidnap here. It might affect the work the security agencies are doing.
But you think they can respond within 24 hours?
Well, let's leave it. Let's see what happens. I don't want to go into details of the kind of things that can be done. But we are hoping that very soon she will come out.
Okay, and also over the weekend, just building up to our main focus for today, the National Sports Festival just ended, and Delta State, well, bounced back compared to the last time where River State had it. Now you did. You had a template for this. Yes,
but let me say that in Delta we take the issue of sport seriously because it's an activity that affects a lot of our youth. And we know managing our youth is a big challenge, not just in Delta, but the whole of Nigeria. But from 1999, when my predecessor was in office, we have always taken the issue of sports seriously. If you notice, out of all the sports festivals so far, we've won most of them. Since I became governor, out of the three, we have won two. So what happened yesterday did not just start from yesterday. It started from 1999 when, as a group, as a government, we'll be taking the issue of sports seriously. You will know that my predecessor concentrated on infrastructure. Today we have 10 completed stadia in Delta State. I think we are the state with the highest number of stadia in Nigeria. We still have some that are ongoing that will still be completed. So in terms of infrastructure, we have the infrastructure. And in terms of the zeal and the participation in sports, it's been off from the Ogbe-ofu era, under Midwest, Bendel, now Delta and Edo. So we've had that sports culture in that part of the country. And for you, as somebody who is the head of government of that state, I mean, you just have to take the issue of sports seriously. If not, you will get into trouble with it. Now, specifically for this one, you know that from the last one, which happened in Port Harcourt, in which the whole state won, as soon as that finished, 3 days after, we sat down and said, look, we must strategize for this one. So we started planning, executing, praying, and the result is what you have, where we have, for the first time, a state coming first with 40 gold medals above the second.
Honestly, very unprecedented. On Friday, we actually were talking with the governor of Rivers State, and we brought this to him, and he said, well, the state was just going to overtake Delta until we finally saw the event close yesterday. Talking about templates, there must be some kind of incentive for those people who represent your state. What's the motivating factor for those athletes in Delta State?
You see, the fear of any athlete, or in fact every human being, is the fear of the future. What happens to you when you are getting older or when you are aging? And what has happened in this country is that many of our athletes, when they are competing, they are recognized. People clap for them, but as soon as they are fading away, nobody thinks about them. But what we have done in Delta State is to ensure that if you are still competing, like all those gold medalists, they are all workers of Delta State government. Most of the medal winners, they work, so they are assured of their future. They are assured of pension. It's not as if when they stop competing, then the government will drop them. No. And because they are sure of that, they are sure of their future, they remain with the government. So no matter what you do to try and take them away, you find it difficult to to achieve it. So that is one secret behind our winning, that our athletes remain with us. Like this one has finished now, we're giving them some cash award, but much more important is that they are sure that every month they are receiving salary and they are receiving pension. And that is very key, for the future of sports in this country.
What about the area of sustainability? Is it all a government thing, or are you bringing in the private sector in this sports master plan?
Yes, we in terms of comprehensive planning, there's infrastructure, you have the athletes themselves, and of course you have the funding, which is the most challenging part of sports development in Nigeria. Not many states or not many persons can put in the amount of fund required to get to be in a winning zone. Now, if you ask the three states, Delta, Rivers, and Lagos, I mean, you must put in some reasonable funding to achieve the level. Unfortunately, for the private sector, they've not supported very much in terms of sporting activity. I believe that the incentive that they require to participate in funding of sports is not there yet. Now, let me take this flooding incident that just happened. When they went to donate in Abuja, Mr. President openly announced that for these donations they are making, there will be some tax incentive. And I believe that if we go that way too, of saying, look, if you fund sports, then there will be some incentive for you. Many more companies will get involved in sport. But for now, it's almost near zero. You just have some company putting 2 million, 3 million, but that's not the level of funding we require to actually get the kind of results that we need.
But the concept of states shouldering the responsibility of hosting this festival, I think that it was Lagos that said, I'm not sure, but some have said the responsibility is kind of huge. Yeah. Do you think they should come up with a different strategy to see how it can work out?
Yes, like I've said, I will never host that. This first, as long as
more stadium than any other.
Yes, you see, the funding is quite huge, and the returns after the hosting, I don't see any state that has hosted it. You see, when countries host Olympics and all that, there's usually after the hosting, for some years, there's something that they get in terms of economic development. Oh. But in Nigeria here, as a state, if you host it, I've not seen any state that has benefited. Maybe Lagos will, but the other states that have hosted it, from my findings. What I think we should do, really, for the National Sports Festival now, is that the federal government should host it at Abuja. It will do many things. One, it will ensure that the facilities at Abuja, the facilities we have there, right now they are decaying. If you go to the National Stadium, a lot of the facilities, that was a stadium we spent a lot of money on, has a lot of facilities, but most of the facilities are decaying because they are not being used. I believe that if we use those facilities for the National Sports Festival once every 2 years, of course, the federal government will be forced to put those facilities in place. And then two, it will also give a national feeling to everybody. Host National Sports Festival in Abuja. So every 2 years, people are looking up to going to Abuja for the National Sports Festival. Then all the other competitions, the ones below, the states can be hosting them. But the National Sports Festival, leave it open, and I'm glad that the federal government agreed to allow it to be an open festival, so that everybody who in sports can take part in it. So if for the next one, for instance, if it's going to be open, of course, we'll strategize and ensure that our best take part in it. Two, let it happen in Abuja. Everybody, where everybody has a sense of belonging, and you reduce the burden on the state. Why I said I was not going to get involved in hosting it, in my participation in governance, right from Commissioner SSG and now Governor, Delta State has been involved in hosting some championship, African Women Football Championship, and I know the level of money that's put into it, and what comes out of it after the hosting is nothing to write home about.